All
Go
right.
ahead and go with it.
Cool.
So is it going to the actual school YouTube, or is it kind of hidden from the
This
school
is just
YouTube?
going to Vernon's YouTube.
Okay,
now.
gotcha.
We'll have to get with communications to do that. It's just testing.
Right. So what I was saying, like to start off, right. So can you mute that? OJ is kind of playing back.
I see. I just turned
Cool.
my YouTube down.
Cool. Appreciate that.
Nice.
So I think it's still playing back. Are you getting that playback as well, Tom?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm just hearing us.
Huh. Let me make sure I'm not streaming it somewhere.
I'm looking at us on YouTube right now.
Okay. Is it possible to turn it all the way down? I'm hearing it back somewhere. Okay.
I turned my volume all the way down.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah. See.
Okay.
I turned my volume all the way down.
Okay.
You see? Hold on. So it's about 10 seconds. It's about a 10-second delay.
Okay. You know what was happening? I had the stream going on my end.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's something we have to take a look at. If in fact we, we might have another person, somebody else obviously watching the stream. So here's the one disadvantage right now is the closed captioning. Were you able to turn that on YouTube? Do you have? I meant to remind you of that earlier.
No problem. Let me see if I can do it on the fly.
Yeah, see if you could do it on the fly.
OJ, one thing I was mentioning to Vernon too, and there may be a way to do it, but one thing I'm noticing that's kind of a huge thing for webinars is that in Zoom, when someone just turns off their camera, they're not seen by the audience, and it appears that in StreamYard that's not the case. You turn off your camera, but you're still seeing like a black window with your name. So
no, Vernon should have the opportunity to take you off the screen. So, for example, Vernon, take me off the screen real quick.
Cool. Yeah, and I was just about to explain that, Tom, as well, but I think you're going to be able to hear once I do it. I'm going to take OJ off. So I'm thinking OJ can't hear anything right now, and it's just me and you.
Yeah, no, I get that, but that's different than being able to still hear everything and not be seen. You know what I mean?
No,
like
I could still hear you all.
Okay,
good. I could hear. The only thing different when you just did that was I was off the screen.
Cool, and you can still talk to us as well.
No, you probably could do it again. You probably couldn't hear me when you took me off because I would be in the live broadcast. So you could do it again.
I'm about to test it. Okay. All right, just removed OJ. So I'm guessing he's just able to hear on YouTube then. I'm gonna bring him back now.
Check 1, 2.
Yeah, we didn't get the audio from you.
Yeah, so I talked throughout the whole thing.
So the question though is, are you hearing it in StreamYard or are you hearing the YouTube feed?
I'm hearing it in StreamYard.
Okay.
So as long as he has me as a panelist, I'm still hearing everything in StreamYard. It's just that he took my camera off.
Okay. So I guess the main difference then is somebody's going to have to control that the whole time. And in Zoom, they could just do it themselves.
Remember, Tom, this isn't for everyone to use. This is
I know.
Not But this is certainly going to have to be, one of us will have to act as the TD, the technical director of this. Like, if a TD is switching, camera shots, that kind of thing. So there is that element of it. However, for it to have this quote unquote production value, I don't mind that. And as a matter of fact, I prefer that to eliminate or limit the amount of mistakes that a user might make. Now, what we may do, I like that, Bernie, you put that logo in there. And so they're pretty easy controls. I mean, I I didn't post anything because I wanted you to go ahead and play around. But when I looked at it, it looked pretty simple. You know, pop your logo here if you want. Do this for the background if you want. I liked how you were able to take me off. Matter of fact, so that Tom can have the experience, why don't you take Tom off like you did me, so he'll see what I saw when I'm off. So check one. Tom, you still should be hearing us in StreamYard, and you still should be able to see us in StreamYard. We just cannot hear or see you. Sounds good? Go ahead and bring him back in, Vernon.
All right.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay. So you just go backstage, so to speak.
Yep, that's it.
Okay.
That's a great that is a great term to use. That's just you going backstage. That's it. The other thing that I want to try out is had you tried out highlighting the chat session?
Yep. If you just write something in the comments and YouTube, I can highlight it. It is about a 5 to 10 second delay from the time you post
it. Okay, so I just posted something in the chat.
Yeah. Cool.
And good.
Cool. I got it.
Nice. Hello, fellas. Hope you're having a good morning. Nice. Very good.
And it's just highlighting it. And once you highlight it, you just hover over it with your cursor and it option to show and hide.
Yeah, I couldn't tell how to do that. So that's great.
Yep. And I guess Tom just sent private chat.
Yeah, he just sent a private chat. Now the private chat is just us, right? As panelists. That's what we see. But if we wanted to, if we go to comments, so if we select comments, we can see the YouTube chat. That's great. You weren't able to see about logging into closed captioning, were you?
No, I'm hoping after the fact. I don't see how to do it live. I'll look a little deeper to see if it's an option to do it on the fly, but might have to do it.
Unfortunately, that is the big one. I'm sorry, I meant to remind you that this morning. Is the closed caption. That's a huge one. I mean, I hate to say it, that actually might be a game changer. If we cannot do it at all. I thought I saw it when I looked at the YouTube. Now, one of the problems may be that you've already started this live session, but yeah, just those simple features that we just have. The other thing is that we would probably, are you able to size the windows of the three of us?
That's just default.
Yeah, I thought we would be able to size. Oh, there we go. You could do something like that. But other than that, I don't like that. But I like the other one that you have. Right. I like this.
Right.
Like if you want to change that. Are those the only selections that they have?
Yeah, and then there's a couple other, but it's based on if I was showing content.
Yeah, so let's see about
share my screen. All right.
we should all be able to show content, right? Let me see if I can as a panel member. Does it give me, it says you can do a video file or share screen. Share screen is easiest with 2 monitors. Screen sharing works best on a good computer. Some screens let you share audio. Look for share audio checkbox on the next window. So it's kind of like Zoom. Let's see, share screen. It says entire screen. Oh, and if you go to Windows, you can choose what you want to share. So let me share my calendar. Share my calendar real quick. And then share. So it looks just like, I'm gonna let Tom and you do it. So I'm sharing my screen now. And do you have to do something though? Because I don't see it up in
okay, yep, I had to add string. I had to
So
add it to the stream. I guess it's a nice little security feature to add.
Yep. So even though I share my screen, I'm sharing it, you still have to add it.
Yeah. But the good thing is I see it backstage. So I can see, hey, OJ's trying to share a screen. Let me make sure this is something appropriate.
Gotcha.
And then
However, let's see this. Because if I'm sharing it, I would want to show me talking and what I'm sharing. Uh-oh. You went, your audio went out.
Test 1, 2, 3. You still able to hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. Cool.
So
yeah, it looks like I'm the video, right?
Yep, you're in the video as I'm looking in YouTube. It's still you, the video, and it's a small window of the screen. It's not a full screen.
Right.
I don't know if you're able to change that. Oh, there we go. Nice. That's what I'm talking about right there. So that would be good. But you're able to change that, correct?
Yeah.
And now what? Oh, and then you can make it full screen. Nice. So nice. So look, what if I wanted to go to just take you and Tom off and leave me on with the shared screen?
Okay, I'm going to try to remove myself.
All right, remove you and Tom and just have me, because that would be kind of what it would look like in a real webinar. Yeah, it's still showing you on the YouTube, and your audio keeps going out. I'm not sure why. Okay, that's me. Is it able to show me? Do you remember the three? They had the three of us on top of each other, and then it had a bigger image of the screen, the shared screen. Can you do that? Because this is a smaller image. You had, I don't know if you're able to do that. Make the screen big and my there you go. There, that's better. Right. That's it. So I'm assuming it's just getting used to the controls backstage. You can bring you and Tom back in now.
So, quick question: is it? I guess you're locked in to have this whole panel of private chat and comments in the StreamYard format. Okay, because that's one kind of disadvantage over Zoom too. It's just like you don't have to have those chat window. You can pull them up as you want, and then you can make the image of share screen go actual full screen.
Fellas, give me a moment.
Okay.
And it looks like with this, you're kind of locked into that. This size, so you're kind of losing like 40% of real estate over seeing it fully full screen.
Yeah.
If I go the leave studio option, does that just I'm going to try that just to see if it puts me backstage. I didn't know if you'd already done that. I was just curious. You might have to bring me back. I'm not sure what will happen.
Yep, no problem.
I apologize. Tom was saying something was a disadvantage. I apologize. What was he?
Just the way that the chat's laid out. You just try to see what happens when you leave the studio. It looks like leaving the studio means you leave the session, similar to kind of how Zoom is. Let me bring him back. He's back. Cool.
Yeah.
When you do that, you're just out.
Yeah. You gotta stay in the chat. So you were saying something was a disadvantage, whereas you can do it in Zoom.
Like at Zoom, when somebody's sharing slides, you can actually make it real full screen because you don't have to have your chat and comment stuff pulled up on the same window. So I'm just noticing that here you're kind of limited to this, what is technically the full screen viewing area.
Right. But now Vernon he was able to make it full screen, but then he took us off. Didn't you have a selection of that, Vernon?
But when he did that, I never saw it go actual full screen. But
it's about it's full screen within the application, kind of, but you still have like 75% of that small side area where you can, but that's going to be on us as the
show Tom that one again.
All right.
So I guess to Vernon's point, it's not 100% full screen, but you see.
Are you seeing it now, Tom?
Yeah, I mean, but that's what I was talking about. Like, it's still within the main window.
Yes.
You can't get it bigger than that restricted window area, as far as I can tell.
That's basically
Okay.
But if it's a PowerPoint slide, my hope is that you should be able to see that. That's not a slide, actually. Those are PowerPoint. I tell you what, Vernon, bring up one of your slides.
All right.
Go ahead and start the slideshow. Right. And you can go to the next. There you go. Yep. So, I mean, it's the tricky part is, as you said, you can stop now, Vernon. I'm glad you did this though, so we can see an actual slideshow. As the tricky part, as Tom said, is that in Zoom, it can take up your whole computer. I mean, the whole screen. I get you.
Yeah.
But that's here. I'm sorry. Do that once more, Vernon.
Yeah, no problem.
Look and see. So if I'm looking at do that once more. Now I'm not doing it on my computer, but on my phone I can show you how it looks. What happened?
Cool. So the live stream, I have the live stream in another app, another window, and it does take up full in the live stream.
That's what I was going to say. It just dawned on me as I was talking it through. Tom is only looking at it in the StreamYard platform, but once it goes to YouTube, it does come up as a full screen.
All right, let me go to that YouTube link so I can see that.
Yeah. So pull up one of your pages.
Cool.
Go back and start your slideshow like you did before. Maybe go to that first page you had that had a little more stuff on. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, something like but that one and the next one. So this is what's going out live. Hold on that. And but right now, my man, I don't know what happened, but I am so far behind on the live stream. It's like when I made it full screen on the phone, I mean, I'm much further behind now.
Do you think that's the Wi-Fi or just the integration?
I don't know.
It
was like it was when I made it full screen on my phone. It stopped, and I had to push play again. Let me see.
Yeah, I wonder if that's just the mobile application.
I had to hit the live button. That's it. I just hit the live button. So yeah. So I mean, it's big. It's still in the StreamYard, but it takes up more of the screen. I mean, it takes up more of the screen.
For you on PC, Tom?
Hold on one second. I'm trying to find you.
So, I mean, I see what Tom is saying, but Tom is looking at it in the StreamYard. It's still, like you say, on those edges. You see the background, but I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah. So do you mind going back to the talking head version of Vernon so I can see that on YouTube as well?
Okay. Give me 1 second. So you want me to stop sharing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Stop sharing.
Take a few seconds to hit YouTube. Okay, there it is. So basically, when you're seeing it on YouTube, you're only seeing the slide or the people, not both at the same time? Is that correct?
You can. So hold on for a second. So Tom, are you looking at the YouTube version?
I was. Now I'm back in StreamYard.
No, you can see it just like you're seeing it in StreamYard. It's whatever Vernon is showing is what you're going to see. So Yeah. So Vernon, show yourself and your slide.
Cool.
Like you did me before.
All right, that should be it. It might take a second to hit YouTube.
Now this is, remember, I don't necessarily like this version. It was the one that had us like this, right? And now look at it in YouTube and pull up one of the slides, because people won't see this part. They'll see it as there you go. So this is a real representation of what they should see in YouTube. It's it's everything you're seeing within this window, Tom, but it's bigger because not in the StreamYard platform. You're looking at this window on the YouTube page. And remember, on YouTube, you can make it full screen or whatever, or you can look at it like this if you like.
Right. No, that's key, is going full screen, and YouTube gets rid of that whole chat box. So that was kind of what I was talking about. Right. So if we were to use this, then people would only see it in YouTube or Facebook, right? That's the only place the users would watch. Okay.
Yeah. You can push it to other streaming services. He did say they can even push it to Facebook. However, for me, the thing that you would lose if you pushed it to Facebook is you would lose, one, I'm not sure if it'll degrade, but you will certainly use the chat, highlighting the chat.
Because you can still have that.
You can? Oh, I guess no. Well, this is how you wouldn't have it. The people, there would be no reason to push it to Zoom if you push the people who are putting in the chat. Yeah, you can see it if they're chatting in YouTube. But most people,
I thought you were talking about Facebook. Sorry.
No, I'm not talking about Facebook. So even Facebook, if they are chatting or messaging in Facebook or YouTube, it's not in YouTube. I'm sorry. Let me get it straight. If you're using the Zoom platform, most people will chat in the Zoom platform and not in YouTube. They're not going to have Zoom open and YouTube open, Zoom open and Facebook open. So that's what I don't mean that you can't technically see it. You can see it, but your users have got to choose which one that they're going to communicate with the chat. And most people, if they get Zoom, they're just going to chat in Zoom. They're not, and so that takes away that highlighted ability. So if we use this for a webinar, there are two things that are at a disadvantage. It's not a huge one, but there's small disadvantage. And one third one, we got to figure out how to do it. So the big one is closed captioning. So we gotta I thought that worked in YouTube. I thought I saw it when we were doing it live. So that's the thing. What you call could probably help. Branson is gone, but Catherine, who's in his place right now, helping out with web stuff, I can talk to her about that. I'm supposed to be meeting her this week anyway. So I can see that there should be a way to do that. Now, some people are not fans of YouTube's closed captioning. However, I think it's probably just as good as Zoom's closed captioning. Either way, the way around it for something like the upcoming, not Minority Health, but the upcoming National Health
Disparities.
Well, they don't like to say health disparities webcast, but the health equity research webcast is that in the past for about $250. And matter of fact, I did this last year in Zoom, is I have a company that does live closed captioning anyway. What I don't see going forward is if the diversity and inclusive group, they have a series that they want to do, I can't see them continuing to do that. But what they have done is they've said, well, Facebook's is just as good. We'll use Facebook's. It's free, whatever. I mean, not Facebook, Zoom. It's free. So we need to figure out the closed captioning thing.
So OJ, sorry to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just reading.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, OJ. I was just reading about it on another thing, and it appears on YouTube's help page to indicate that they're rolling out automatic captions to English channels, but those channels need to have 1,000 subscribers or more. So I don't think they're fully done integrating captioning at this time.
And again, for the big ones, I'm like the one coming up in September. We pay for that anyway, because before everyone wasn't thrilled at the time with Zoom's closed caption. Then over time, people were like, well, it's good enough. But so we were doing that anyway for $250, which they won't have a problem with that. So that's that one. Hopefully YouTube will get it together, or they're working on it. Maybe what I saw, they had over 1,000 viewers. I have no idea. Or to be quite honest, they may have done what I'm recommending, is they use a third party. So that's the only thing I could think of easily. That's probably what they did.
That's YouTube's current recommendation, is to use a professional service. Yeah. But I think what the deal is, it has to be 1,000 subscribers to the channel, not 1,000 viewers. So that's even harder to obtain.
I get it. But you don't need you shouldn't need 1,000 subscribers if you're using a third party.
I don't think so.
Not a third party.
No, that's just because all they're going to do is they are just using a code, and we give them this link. They're just using a code that you or Vernon would give them, much like we did with all our other streams in the past to do live closed captioning. So that's what I'm saying. I think that the other company that I saw must have done that. If I'm going by what you're reading, because I knew I saw it, but now that explains it. Because that's the only way I could think of doing it effectively. The other issue, though, that we have is Zoom makes it extremely user-friendly and easy to do these reservations for their webinars. I mean, everyone now they got it down to a science. Now, the one thing that I can say is that I think the dean's office does not use registration from Zoom. They use campus's registration system that everybody else, they use for everything else, registration for everything else. So if we could, if they use that, particularly if the dean's office, it's fine. Where that might be an issue is if it were more people we were servicing this to. But so I think the strategy would be you'd have to use that other registration system. Essentially what's happening is that people have just gotten comfortable with Zoom. But if you're using this, you got to get Zoom out of your head. And you got to have this other registration system. You got to get the third party for closed captioning. And it's one other thing that I said. But those are the big ones. I don't know if you all have, just on this short test, have identified anything that may be. The other thing that I would recommend, I thought you can size the windows. So what I would recommend is you all see it like the press conferences for sporting events, like post game. They have all of the logos in the background. they're written, small and they're repetitive. And that's because, so when you have somebody sitting in front of it, they're not blocking a particular logo. So we'd have to do something similar. Huh?
Are you talking about the banner?
Yeah, you got to be right, but it would have to be small. See how all of that's cut off? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it would have to be like these little small, maybe UNC Global Health logos, and we can get that created. Somebody can create that in communications. And I'm just saying that's just one idea. It doesn't have to be, but you want to be able to brand it as much as possible. To be quite honest with you, if you just had it blue, Carolina blue, and then you put up there like you had the logo for the School of Public Health up in the corner, that might just suffice, And what I would recommend is if we had just us three, I would put that down in the right corner and not over the video. It doesn't let you move.
No, I don't think so. I think I can move around where your camera.
Right. I thought it had a little more play, but yeah. So that's fine. But I think that would be the branding. That's what I would recommend. I mean, I'd say, okay, because sometimes I think in this, like when I saw it, there a couple people, I saw some examples that had their little logos all over the background, and it looks kind of distracting. It doesn't look clean, depending on what the logo is or what the saying is. Just, but I get why they do it though. It's so that, this allows you to brand. You know what I mean? So
we could just overlays you can design and it just
right
on the top of it.
Yeah. So little things like that, I think we would be very helpful. You know what I mean? So like for me, what I would do, like what you just did up there, I would probably put the title of the program, up there at the top. I would put the National Health Equity Research Webcast or something. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. So yeah, right now it's the registration. It's let me see, registration, closed captioning. Is there anything else that you are the overall service? I mean, just we have to come up with a plan because people, we can't do this for everybody. You know what I'm saying?
OJ, one thing I'm looking at that I was just wondering how this would work is it looks like you only as a panelist get a private chat option to chat with other panelists.
Okay, go ahead. Let me let you finish. Go ahead. What are you saying?
Well, just compared to panelists in a Zoom webinar who have the option to reply back to comment to everyone or to comment just to the panelists or to the host.
You should be able, if you go to I don't see a place where you can do it just the individuals on the panel, or individuals in the. I thought you could.
So for me, Vernon, when I click comments, it only shows the comments. Like there's no reply field.
Oh, there's no post a comment at the bottom?
No.
Oh, okay. It looks like only the production would do that. And then I guess we would have to have someone that's and this is just a matter of signing into our StreamYard. So you guys were signed in, you would have this ability to post a comment to everyone.
Okay.
So we could share the sign in with someone that's kind of moderator for the group.
Got it.
And they could be posting comments to everybody.
Got it. So you can post a comment. And I'll be honest with you, Tom, I don't know if I would want to do that. I've seen where that's not, I've seen it's an advantage because that person has answered a question and they don't have to listen to them answer it live, I guess. But I've also seen it where it kind of was clunky to me that it depends on how they get in the question. I think maybe what made it clunky in Zoom is because they were asking people to send their questions into the questionnaire part, the question, and not the comment section. They didn't turn in comments, but people were putting comments questions in the comments section. So what made it clunky was they were trying to answer both of them. So it was just because people didn't follow directions. So that might be a bit of a
so
thing.
just an example is like they're talking about a subject and maybe the panelist is talking about something that they have expertise in. Then they want to give people a link, at the end. So Vernon, you're saying they would need to be signed into StreamYard as an account in StreamYard in order to do that.
Or just have a moderator, similar to some of those, one of those things we worked, those webinars we worked together, and just have someone, I forget who was working with us.
It was Grace probably, but like the difference here is like if a panelist is trying to drop a link, they're going to have to send it to the moderator, then the moderator's going to have to do it.
Right.
So that's just and getting all these people to sign in to StreamYard, they don't necessarily want to have.
I wouldn't have them.
I wouldn't want it either.
Yeah, I wouldn't have them sign in the StreamYard.
Just someone like Grace, and they would just take coordination beforehand. Like, hey, Grace, this is stuff I want to send out to people. I'm going to cue you when to send it out, and you could just put it into the comments, and the comments go to the YouTube. So
gotcha. But a lot of these things just come up on the fly, though. They won't know ahead of time necessarily. And the other one I'm seeing that is nice thing about Zoom is you can ask questions anonymously. 2, you can decide whether those questions even get sent back to the field. So like if somebody, as far as I can tell here, comes in and comments something offensive or something, that's going out, right? Like, is there a way to stop that from going live?
But in the
it's not anonymous. I think the lack of anonymity actually assists in that, because you're on YouTube, so you're signed into, maybe you create a fake email, but you're signed into something attached to you on YouTube. So if you write something crazy, Tom Laney talking crazy on YouTube, maybe you get,
I think the difference is that on Zoom, it's more you can kick them off in Zoom because you can't necessarily stop them from commenting in Zoom. I mean, if I put something up in Zoom, everyone sees it. But I think to your point, Tom, the advantage is as the moderator in Zoom, I can kick them out. In YouTube, I don't have that same capability.
And so you can put a user in timeout.
Okay.
Oh, you can do that in YouTube?
Yeah, I can remove the comment and I can put you in timeout afterwards.
So, and maybe the offensive comment's a bad example. I'm just thinking more of like, say somebody's asking a question that's just not really on topic or whatever the case, that's going to keep showing up in the live feed, right? Unless you actively remove their question after it's posted, right?
Yeah, but like in those, I'm sorry, I lost your audio, Tom.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can now.
Okay, all right. Did you hear my question though before?
Yeah. Okay. So like in a live scenario, let's say just in general, people are going to put a lot of stuff in the comments anyhow. So it's just a matter of, filtering out each individual, filtering out, okay, that's irrelevant. Because some people are going to say, hey, great point, great job, I'm having the time of my life, kind of thing.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think it'll work. It's just my point being that in Zoom, if you're doing Q&A, you select which questions actually go live to people. So you have that filter built in. You're not surprised by something and go, oh, we need to take that down. It's like you don't post it if you don't want that question going in.
If people are doing the question part, right, exactly. However, the point I was making is that people get around that by just putting whatever they want in the comment section. It doesn't really have to be a question.
Gotcha. At least on the Dean's ones, they close off the chat, so it's Q&A only.
Right.
Yeah. So you have that built-in kind of filter about one, the host and panelists can decide if they do answer something, they can show their answer live, or they can choose to not.
It's a great feature. I mean, there's some trade-offs. It's a great feature. So it's a great feature for security and some other things. So I just it's a trade-off. I mean, it depends on how bad people want a slicker, branded looking presentation. So, I mean, I think that for me, similar to, which I actually need to talk to you all briefly about, but similar to what went out with the graduation debacle, it was just people expected a certain professionalism and things like that from the school. I mean, unfortunately, technology is what it is, and some things just didn't work or whatever the case is. But you're at a number 2, some argue number 1 public health school. You're trying to separate yourself from everyone, and everyone is using Zoom right now. And there are some organizations and stuff that are going to Melon or StreamYard or something, just little subtle things to just brand them and to say, oh, this is a cool presentation. I mean, that's really it in a nutshell. That it's nothing, I mean, I'm sure it took a lot to create this on the back end, but just that little subtle difference it allows people, in my opinion, just like any video. I mean, you all are used to video or television. I mean, it's just upping the professionalism of it. It's the difference between, I don't know, Tom, if you remember David Pesci, but one of the issues we kept having with him in terms of us trying to add quality to, professional broadcast quality is that he assumed, I mean, I assume, but his theory was, oh, everyone is just used to seeing video like on your phone. So that's what we don't need, we don't need a camera and lighting and all that kind of stuff. And so that's why we never really did a lot of stuff. David Pesci was the former communications guy at Vernon, by the way. And so that was his principle. I mean, he came from a world of, print. But his thing was, hey, these kids now just get it on the phone and get out there, which is true. We have accepted a very degraded technology, just like these cell phones. Like, who 20 years ago, 30, we would have told the phone company, we would have refused to pay them if the amount of times we have dropped calls and things like that back in the day on our house phone, right? But it's become acceptable. So it's one thing to be acceptable, but to me, it's another thing to be to set yourself apart. And that's the only reason why I was pretty interested in this. And like I said, not everyone's going to use it, but I do think, to Tom's point, there are some disadvantages, and one being the security part. I think that the Zoom has built in a really good technique and platform for that. I honestly think in a couple of years, Zoom will probably figure out some things to do that some of these streaming companies are doing. To be honest,
bet you're right.
Yeah. So I mean, because it's just trying to keep up, and this is a very inexpensive tool. So we'll see. The one thing I'll say about this, the other disadvantage is that Zoom is super, I don't want to say, because this is user friendly too, but I just think that people have gotten particularly during the pandemic, it made people learn how to use Zoom at a pretty high rate, and people are comfortable with it, so.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Model T. When Ford started mass producing that, everybody had the same color. Everybody had one.
There
everybody knew it. And then, other companies say, well, actually, blue. How you like a blue car,
Great example. A great example. I mean, Vernon, you was at that when Hoppin did that the conference, the StreamYard conference.
Yeah.
That thing was amazing to be online. Yeah. That thing was amazing to have a conference done like that. So it was amazing. So I think that takes a whole lot of more coordinated effort than I want to give right now.
Right.
But
and it was more expensive too.
Yeah, they're expensive because they did it through Hoppin. But I see that Tom took his camera off, I guess.
He's back. Let me add him back.
Is there anything else that you all?
Yeah, there is. I need to remove you guys for a second, but it's a kind of an intro feature you know, when you're doing a live event
Oh,
and
you
you
can
get
put
about
like an
30
intro
minutes
video.
beforehand.
I
Yeah,
remember
and that
talking about that.
background.
Uh-huh.
Cool.
Go ahead and
So
show
I'll
me
just
what you got.
remove. All right. So
Yeah, I saw
this
that.
is sick. Yeah, something similar. I know communication would do the posters and all that, but to be able to have the poster and the intro, and then have actual, I could have put a banner in there like, hey, thank you for joining us. We will be with you shortly, kind of thing.
Like in the demo, how the StreamYard person said that was the countdown was one thing that would make their students a lot more engaged. So I was like, it's going to take more than that.
Right. So yeah, this is just, you know, I wanted us to do the test. I'm glad, Tom. Thanks for saying something the other day about joining. Thanks, Vernon, for making sure he got the link. But this is what I'm hoping. I mean, you know, again, my two big ones happen to be. I mean, the three big ones. I'm sorry, is us having to, and I guess we'll talk more about this during the retreat, but us trying to come through how to make this a service and what parameters to put on here and how do we justify using it? Like what are the requirements that you have to get approved to use StreamYard?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So I mean, you know, yeah, I don't know.
It might be a good idea to just have a similar meeting like we're doing now, just with the dean's staff that runs these before we get too far with it. Because
that was the plan.
Let them kick the tires. Yeah.
That's why we are actually meeting today. Actually, I thought I was going to have one of the reasons why Vernon was getting this ready today. We actually were supposed to get it ready Friday, but he had to. I guess you have to wait like 24 to 48 hours for YouTube.
Yeah, to allow you to have a live channel.
Live stream. But the one reason is because this week I have a meeting with the webcast committee. However, it's not the type of meeting like if we would have gotten this done a couple weeks ago. I would have recommended us to use this in the meeting. But this meeting is with panelists and with the moderator. And we're talking more about the content, the topic, you know, who's going to say what, that kind of thing. So I'm what I would assume is the next meeting, or we'll create a meeting so that the committee members can see this in StreamYard. What I may do, that's something. Maybe I will create, maybe at that meeting, maybe invite Angelica, Chrisanna, and those, Grace, and those to that meeting. Although it's not a school meeting, and it's a specific program meeting, but at least they'll get to see it. And I don't have to do it like, we don't have to keep doing all of these demos. My hope is that people will see it unveiled in September when we, you know, push it through. The other thing that I'm thinking about is I need to talk to, not unless you know Vernon offhand, trying to get the analytics from YouTube, like the amount of simultaneous viewers, things like that.
I'll look at I think all that stuff's on the channel. On the back end of the channel, I see.
Like I told
right
you,
here.
I've never done a live YouTube And I know that they will show you the amount of people who have watched your video, like recorded video. But it would be nice to see it broken down, much like Zoom does or other streaming services, like how many. Because I don't think, obviously, we won't see it in StreamYard because people are using YouTube, right? So,
are you able to see it now?
oh yeah, I am. I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
So what's the two?
Two concurrent viewers. I guess it's just me and you are the actual viewing it, or there's only two
On
people at
YouTube.
one time
Right,
viewing it.
on
Yeah.
YouTube. Right. It does not show. You can't see who was logged in though, right?
I still have my YouTube stream open, so maybe that's me and OJ watching, and not you. It's because you're the host, Vernon.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Let me see. I don't really. Let me see if I can click on this.
And
No.
we'd have to see about getting reports.
Mm-hmm.
But we'll see. What's that concurrent users down there? If you hit analytics over to the right, underneath the 20, that's just chat. Okay. Yeah, we'll have to check. Let's look into that.
Yeah.
So one other thing, OJ, with this, as far as just support, is that once because at least if we're doing a Zoom webinar, we can still see that since we're Zoom admin, we can see who's in the meeting, we can see who's connected. If we go StreamYard, it's just like, here's the technical support number for StreamYard, or do we have any control over who's in the meeting, or can we see who's in the meeting, or any of that?
No, because remember, they're not. That is probably the one big disadvantage. People are not connected to StreamYard. The only people who are connected to StreamYard are the moderator and the panel members. Everyone is connected to YouTube or Facebook or whatever. So that's another disadvantage. We're not the YouTube administrators, although we are. But I just think our administration duties and roles are limited. Zoom is you have much more functionality. And in YouTube, it's, they give you the basics.
Mm-hmm.
So that's that's really, that's a disadvantage.
Yeah.
YouTube is it's a world, although Zoom is too, but because people are using the Zoom platform to view your content, you have a lot more control. This is StreamYard is kicking this to whatever. Now, one would argue we could set it up where this is seen in Zoom. The problem that I think is, and the guy already said he thought that was a problem too, is we wouldn't be able to highlight that feature. We wouldn't be able to use. Now we could say, well, it's more important to use some of the security of Zoom or whatever, just so we can brand it better. We just lose that one. I can't think of anything else we would lose, but he did say we just would have to configure it. StreamYard would help us configure it to go through Zoom. And people would just log on to Zoom. The concern I have is in the background, we would have to also, which we would be doing that anyway in StreamYard, going back and forth to manage the Q&A. But yeah, so we wouldn't be able to do. So we would have to see.
So Vernon, from your end, do you at least have the ability to mute or control cameras for all the panelists that are in?
Yeah, I can mute you guys if I needed to, or I can remove you.
Okay. So we just can't see the meeting, what's going on overall, but we can any panelists you have control over.
Yep. And it's, again, if all three of us signed in through our account, we would have the same ability to mute each other, or kick each other out, or whatever. But generally, we're going to have panelists, and I don't know how game they would be for having a moderator included, that we could also get these administrative privileges to assist with like the chat and things of that nature.
I would do much like we have done. I mean, right now the great thing is that, well, I guess the dean's office is doing that now. The dean's office, they have Christiana, Grace, whoever, they act as the technical person, much like you're doing now in StreamYard. They do that in Zoom, right? I would not want our moderator to act in that role. I wouldn't want, so I would just want them to join as a panelist, but technically, with the technical controls, I don't want to call them a moderator because that'll confuse people, because there is a moderator of the event. But technically, I think StreamYard calls what you're doing a moderator. And I would only want you or Tom to be that person. I don't want them to. Now, who knows? We might get up to that point where if you follow these guidelines, here is your Grace or one of them can act the way that you're acting, because they did that in Zoom, right? So if we just
what I was thinking is just having them, like you said, we'll be the producer, but having someone just do like chat, like maybe chat to the masses kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I just think that we would just have to set it up. Whereas if I'm a moderator of the program, like if I'm leading the program and I say, oh, let's see what other chat, just boom, you push the chat and bring it up. You know what I mean? That's all. I mean, we would have to control that, and we would have to tell the moderator. I think we'd have to work that out. I mean, I can see some benefits to having another person that's doing the chat, but then that means we'd have to have another account for somebody to bring it up. And we're not trying.
What I'm thinking is, depending on what YouTube channel we use, let's say we use Gillings' YouTube channel and just a handful of people have access to that, then Grace could just be on YouTube and handling the chat from YouTube, and it would essentially be coming from us. For
I see
people
what you're
from a
saying.
distance, they'll see it.
When you say handle the chat, what's your what are you meaning when describe what you're saying with handle the chat?
Because some questions might not be needed to break away from the actual webinar and have the panelists talk about, but you can just on the back end say, hey, that's a good question, here's an answer, or hey, we'll get that answer to you later.
Oh yeah,
that
like Tom was saying earlier. Yes. Certainly somebody to be in the chat, like say in that role. Yeah, just like in Zoom. Yes. I thought when you said handle, I thought you meant to decide to bring said question live on air, that kind of, okay. So yeah, of course. I mean, there's some things that, I think we have to think through. These are what you need to have, going into when you use this. I mean, we would have to write those requirements and or guidelines, so to speak, for the use of StreamYard. Because although we would be manipulating it or operating it in StreamYard, there's some things that they would need to do on the front end still. So I mentioned one right now. I would say they would still need to make sure they do get a third party closed caption. Now I will tell you that's going to run off quite a few people.
Yeah,
because one of the reasons why they enjoy Zoom is because it's free, like no money, So the thought is, do you have to be very strategic. That's what I'm saying. We have to come up with what are requirements, guidelines. You got to be very strategic in wanting to use StreamYard as your source.
And with that, another kind of limitation is if we're pushing to YouTube and Facebook, everyone has to have, well, they don't necessarily have to have no, you do to sign into YouTube these days, right? No, I guess not. I was trying to think in terms of would they have to have a YouTube account to watch the YouTube webinar if they don't already have one to watch the stream on YouTube?
I was going to try that
just with the link.
On my phone because it's recognizing me on my phone.
Right.
You know, I'm signed in, but I was going to try that. Let me see. Because
that is a big, like you said, everyone has Zoom, and now we're expecting, if it's requiring, because I think YouTube does require, since they tied it to Gmail, they kind of require you to sign in, right? Or can you just watch something without being signed in?
Yeah, I think if you sign out, Tom, and just go back to that link, you should be able to just view it.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, so I'm watching it now. Now here's the thing. So here's the thing. Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was getting confused because I went on my computer to the live YouTube thing. Here's the thing. You can watch it. If you want to chat, you got to sign in.
You got to sign in. Okay.
You can watch it all day and night.
I just got an email from Chrisana. That's a great question that has not been addressed as far as I can tell. She's asking about so all the departments that bought their own tokens, right? Once this migration happens, does that go away and they lose them if they purchase their own?
Yeah, so we got to figure out what's going on. We got to figure that out. This weekend, okay. I was like, yep, I didn't talk to Suzanne about that, but that's a question I do need to pose to Suzanne.
So tell her we're going to check on that.
Yes, tell her all this is still evolving. Yep.
Okay.
Now, did they buy their own or did we give them theirs? I can't think of anybody that bought a token.
Oh, really? I thought like NCI Public Health Institute bought. I thought they paid for a token, but
they were so Rachel had asked Lou about this about a month ago. I got to pull up what the response was. They had to pay for it, but the university is working on another whatever. So I don't think that they paid for that yet. They didn't make arrangements to pay for that yet. Now they did. I don't even know if they did last year, because essentially what they were doing is sending money to us, and then we just picked up. So I think last year we kind of allowed them to roll with it. I have to check my emails. And so Rachel wanted to know about what they should prepare for this coming year. So Lou hadn't had an answer yet. But I can't think of if there's anyone. NCIPH was the only group that was going to attempt to pay.
Oh.
The other ones, those were accounts that we gave them.
Gotcha.
And now they'll just go to campus and get them, just like, they don't have them in their possession, at their disposal. They have to always request them now.
Okay.
So so I need to check to ensure Rachel did not pay for her. Did you all see the message? Did it go out today?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been on the phone and all. I hadn't even. The only email that I need to look at, because I need to run in a minute. Get ready for this 1 o'clock. So, did I include you all to? Oh, I'm sorry. Do we need anything else with StreamYard? Are we good with it?
I think we're good.
Yeah, okay. That's most of the differences I can see.
Are you able to stop the live going out live, big man?
Yeah, and